Hey everybody, Tommy Martin with Indiana Avenue Baptist Church. Hey, we're starting an 8-week look at the book of Nehemiah with the title Lessons on Leadership. Now, some real quick background on Nehemiah. This book takes place roughly 450 years before Jesus is born. It's one of the last things that's going on in the Old Testament. So it's in there in a timeline with Ezra, Esther, and then Malachi. So that's kind of when it is. Now, what's going on in the book? Well, Nehemiah is the cupbearer for the king, King Artaxerxes, the Persian. And that's probably more of a personal protection, almost like a secret service kind of a job. And he hears some news about Jerusalem, and it stirs his heart. It upsets him. So we're going to read in Nehemiah chapter 1, verses 1 through 4. Here we go. The words of Nehemiah, the son of Hakaliah. Now it happened in the month of Kislev in the 20th year, as I was in Susa, the citadel, that Hanani, one of my brothers, came with certain men from Judah, and I asked them concerning the Jews who escaped, who had survived the exile, and concerning Jerusalem. And they said to me, the remnant there in the province who had survived the exile is in great trouble and shame. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down, and its gates are destroyed by fire. As soon as I heard these words, I sat down and wept and mourned for days. And I continued fasting and praying before the God of heaven. So Nehemiah gets this news about Jerusalem. He's probably never even been there. There had been a movement 20, 30 years before this time when some of the people went back from Persia to Jerusalem, and they worked on rebuilding the temple, but they did not work on rebuilding the wall. And a wall is a big deal because that's kind of how you defend yourself from your enemies. And so that lack of a wall reminds everyone that, hey, the Babylonians came through here and defeated us some number of years ago. Now, others must know this same information, but it seems to strike Nehemiah just a bit differently. It's distressing news to him. It says he wept, he mourned, he fasted, and he prayed. Now, he probably doesn't have a plan to rebuild the wall yet. He may not even have figured out that he's supposed to be a part of it. He's just heard the news, but he's concerned, he's troubled, his heart was stirred. So I want to ask you, what stirs your heart? Is it a situation or condition that someone is in and you hear and you go, oh, that breaks my heart, that stirs me to want to fix it? Is it a business problem you see and you feel driven to solve it? It stirs you. Do you look around at your kid's sports team or their scout troop and you say, they need a coach, they need a leader, I'm stirred to do that? Or perhaps the kids at your church need more sponsors for their trip, and instead of saying, oh yeah, somebody ought to do that, it stirs you to do that. So what stirs you? And then how can we tell if that stirring is really from God? I don't know the exact answer, but here are a few ideas. Are you willing for God to get the glory and for others to get credit? If so, what's stirring you might be from God. Are you willing for others to gain financially? Are you willing for others to get some power and control? Does what you're feeling, what you're stirring, does it help those who can't help themselves? Does it show compassion? Does it communicate the gospel? And lastly, does it give you opportunities to share the gospel? Now, if the answer to all these questions is yes, then it might be from God. So, is God stirring your heart? And if it looks like God is stirring your heart, then the next answer is, well, what do I do about it? What's the next step? It's prayer. That's right. You're all fired up. You're ready to go do something. You want to go out and start immediately. And I'm saying, oh, no. Stop and pray. Slow down and pray. Yeah, well, that's what happened in the book of Nehemiah. Nehemiah's heart gets stirred about the condition of the city wall, not because he's a construction guy, not because he had the potential for a financial gain or for power, just because God stirred his heart. And then he sat down and he prayed. So, what stirs your heart? Next week, we'll look at Nehemiah's prayer and see what we can learn about how to pray about what is stirring our hearts. God bless you.